Hi there. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
And I'm Sweet Baby James, otherwise known as James Maynard.
So tonight I'm going to be talking about, do we make life unnecessarily complicated? Why? And what's the price? And you may be surprised where I'm going to start, which is going to be about gun control. But anyway, I'm sneaking that in. Okay, but before I get onto the topic, first let's review James
Yes.
introduce the show.
Just in case you're here by accident, the show that you're at is Granny Rocks Our World, otherwise known as GROW. And I'm sure she's going to rock our world yet again tonight with her wit, her wisdom, and her uncommon sense.
I certainly hope so.
And this show airs every Monday and Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. So stay with us and keep on coming.
And please comment and do all of that stuff during the show if you're here live. And afterwards, you can always comment, not after you're live. No, that sounds terrible. Hi, Bob said, hi, Beth and James. Carol says, hi. Also, hi there, Bob and Carol. And RA said, hi, Beth and James. Hi, RA. And he sent lots of hearts. Okay, so we're already off to a good start. I feel the love coming. So, I have been really thinking about this whole thing about these mass shootings in the U.S. And then there's horrible things go on everywhere. Todd says, hi there, you two. Hi there, you one. Todd. Elizabeth said, hello, Beth and James, and hello, Elizabeth. So, I've been thinking about that, and I said, do I want to talk about this too? Everybody's talking about this. What do people really need? And then something happened that made me think about whether or not we make life too complicated. And then I realized there was a connection, but I'm going to go off into the complication area as the the
Complicator in chief.
The complicator as the major, as the topic of our show. But the thing about gun control is we make it very complicated. It's about the Constitution. It's about gun owners' rights. It's about racism. It's about, the rights of children. It's about this. It's about that. It's so obvious that if you have big weapons, you're going to have more death. Even if people are going to be violent with or without guns, and that's a whole other thing about our culture. The fact is, for instance, if each one of us was armed personally with our own atomic weapon, because the Constitution guarantees us the right to bear arms, and those are the arms of the 20th century, then, we would have even more destruction than just automatic weapons, right?
Yeah.
So, it's all kind of nonsensical. And so, if we would just look at the real reasons, it's not so complicated. We're scared of one another, right? We're scared personally of one another. The wife is scared of the husband is scared of the neighbor or the wife or the children. Anyway, we need to look powerful. We're afraid of other social groups, other races, people from other nations who are going to come across and get our stuff, or the homeless man who's going to break into my house, or whatever it is. All of this is, I understand it. And we're afraid to be vulnerable. So why don't we just talk about that? That's why we're still hanging on to guns. I'm not talking about if you're a hunter and all of that stuff. You know what we're talking about very well. You're talking about, big weapons that kill a lot of people, and really you don't need them for hunting. So, but, I've got to be able to protect myself and my own, and I need to look powerful. So, okay, why don't we talk about that? But no, we have to talk about everything else, complicate things. So anyway, I'm not going to go on and on about that topic because we've already, the whole world is talking about that. I want to talk about the other ways in which we make life unnecessarily complicated and why we do that and what the price is that we're paying. Obviously, we're paying a big, because now gun control is about, what are the people in my district going to think? And am I going to get reelected? And it's never about gun control. It's always about something else. Oh, we got to wave from Luann. We're waving back to Luann. And Amy said, I've thought that instead of the news folks trying to make sense of these shootings, why don't we finally get rid of having assault weapons? Well, that's one of the things that some people are proposing. So anyway, here's an example. I have a show tonight. I have to look a certain way. Oh my God, my hair. Ugh. Oh, I have stains on my blouse. See, I solve these problems by I never get dressed. So you never know whether or not I have stains on my blouse because my blouse is in the closet. Anyway, I have no time to think about the show or get nervous or think deeply because I'm too busy getting ready for the show. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so now I want to give some examples that may apply to some of you. Ta-da! That you may enjoy thinking about. And then we're going to get to why we do this and what the price is that we're going to pay. So let's say you've decided to get married. That happens, right? Or shack up in some way. Anyway, are we going to have a wedding? Well, we have to have a wedding. Well, why do we have to have a wedding? Well, the wedding has to have this or that. And the dress needs to look like this or that. And we have to invite him or her. And now this whole thing is mushrooming out of proportion. Everybody knows this. This is a very common example, but it still goes on. And in the meantime, I have to please my mother. I have to please my father. My mother wants us to do it on this date. My father wants to do it on that date. Or I have no mother or father. And my best friend says, boo. And the bridesmaids have to get together and decide on what color their dresses are going to be. And then we have to start working overtime in order to pay for all this. Now, what is the result of all these extra complications which have nothing to do with getting married? We have no time to enjoy life. We have no time to spend together to work on our relationship. We have no time to prepare emotionally and spiritually for the marriage. We have no time to deal with the children. Let's say we've got, a mixed family where we've got, kids from two families, and we have to work with these kids to help them to adjust to what's going on. We don't have time for any of this because we're too busy with a wedding. So what are we avoiding there, right? So, all right, you're sending a gift to a friend. You've decided to include a card, but you can't afford to buy one, or there's no store within 100 miles, or that's too common. So you think it would be more impressive if you made a card or wrapped the gift in a certain way, but you are not capable of doing any of these things. And what is the result of that? Time keeps passing and the gift sits in the closet, right? Okay, we want to move in together. We have to buy new furniture, obviously. Now, we need to shop. We need to worry. We need to impress somebody. What is the result? We don't have time to work on our relationship again. Because we're getting distracted. We're moving in together. We're too busy worrying about the furniture to worry about the relationship. I want to ask my boss for a raise. But first, I need to make a list of all the extra time I've put in, all the extra work I've done. I need to document to my boss what my value is and why I deserve this raise. And then I have to prepare myself emotionally for this confrontation. And then I have to wait until after his vacation because he's too busy before the vacation, getting ready for his vacation. And then now he comes back, but I can't ask him after his vacation because now he's too busy because he's been on vacation. And so on, right? It's so complicated. The result is I still haven't asked the guy for a raise, and I resent it. I hope you're identifying with some of this, at least in some form. I see some so I know some of you are. Now, I'm going to go back to school or back to work after the kids are. How can we complicate this? Out of kindergarten? Until they're done with grade school? Graduated from junior high, high school, college, have a job, get off drugs, get married. I mean, how many things can we... What's the result of that? I never do it. And then I resent the kids for stopping me. So why do we do all of this? Why do we make things unnecessarily complicated? I'm not just talking about procrastination, guys, because, we know all about that, don't we? Procrastination. Anyway, I'm talking about how we make things complicated so we cannot deal with them directly. Why are we doing it? How do we rationalize it? What's the impact? Does it ever end? And do we impose it on our people around us? Like, oh, my daughter has just come and said, oh, I want to get married. Oh, well, I hope you don't forget everybody who sent you a gift when you got married the last time. Or I hope that, there's going to be enough space for all the people on my side of the family. oh no, the dress has to look like this. Oh no, I mean, I remember my parents telling me I can only get married on a certain day of the week because of religion, which I didn't follow. Hello, Pedro. Glad to see you. He said, well, we are glad to see you too. So do we tell other people that they have to make their lives more complicated too?
Yeah, we do that.
Is this ringing a bell? Ding dong, ding dong. Now, let's look at some of the potential reasons that we overcomplicate things. Maybe we feel like we don't deserve something. Like we're going to make it so complicated going to the boss and asking for a raise because deep down inside we think we're no good and we don't want to find out. So we make it so complicated and that we postpone it and postpone it and we postpone it, and then we never have them ready there telling us, well, I don't want to do this because you're just no damn good and you don't deserve that money. Okay. All right. And supposing they tell us that. So is that too bad? So then we know they don't think we're any damn good. And then maybe we'll go get another job. Or maybe we'll realize we really are no damn good and we should get into a different profession. You know what I mean? But this is an avoidance of dealing with reality. My God, when we're talking about the marriage or the moving in together, we're so busy focused on the wedding and the apartment and all that we're not really looking at, do we really want to get married? And I'm not kidding. I mean, maybe there's a part of us that wants to get married, like the part of us that says every woman should be married by the age of 12 or 52 at the very least, or every man or every trans or whatever it is has to prove that he, she, they are normal or whatever, right? And so we don't focus on the relationships. We're focusing on everything else and we're not really looking at whether this is really right. We're not dealing with the fact that our children hate, each other. My children hate you, your children hate me, or they hate each other, or we hate them, or I hate your Anyway, maybe we're not dealing with any of that because we're too busy deciding that the bridesmaids must wear plum. Or let's say another reason we might be overly complexifying things. Debbie says, hi, James and Beth. Great topic tonight. Oh, thank you, Debbie. I'm so glad that you could make it. Yes, yay. So maybe we feel guilty about something and we're trying to compensate. So maybe the gift that we have to get the special card or the wrapping is we are late on giving the gift. So we're going to somehow, the person isn't going to know because we're going to send them this incredible wrapping paper. And then they're not going to notice that this really was the Christmas gift from last year. So, you might have, and it's July. So, you might instead, I do realize now that it is August, but it might have been July. So, you could actually call up the person or write to them and say, I'm terribly embarrassed, but I'm extremely late with this gift, but please accept it anyway. It's coming in the mail in a brown paper bag. But you'll know it's from me because it says, hallelujah, pass the salt. So anyway, so we might be feeling guilty about something and trying to compensate. Maybe I feel guilty because I really don't want to marry you. So I'm compensating by, making a more spectacular wedding. Or I know that your mother is pissed at me for taking you away from her. So we're going to make the wedding of the century and she's going to be impressed. And all of her relatives and neighbors are going to be impressed that she's going to give us her blessing. I mean, you've got to be kidding, guys. Come on. Here's another one. You will relate to this. I guarantee you. We really don't want to do the damn thing. So we'll go back to gun control. There's too many people, like I said, who are scared, who feel like they can't give up their weapons. They don't want to do it. So they'll come up with every possible reason why we can't do it. Or I don't want to face the fallout if I do it. We have to have 15 conferences about this before we sit down and do the thing we already know we should need to do. We have to have international conferences where everybody flies in and creates pollution in order to have discussions about climate change, which are made worse by all those planes. See, there's always reasons. That reminds me of something. A former friend, client of mine, is a climate scientist, and he said he felt guilty going to these conferences because of, all the use of the planes and the I don't know, the jet fuel. And I said, well, why don't you do it by internet? Why don't you reorganize this, since everybody coming is really? It was just unthinkable. Well, you know why? It's because that's all the personal consensus and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. And I don't, I don't disagree that that's true. But see, we make things difficult, or we pretend we can't do things because we just don't want to do them. Or what's worse, we get so fixated on all this other stuff, all these complications, so we never have to admit that we just don't want to do it. I don't want to ask my boss for a raise because I don't want to stay here. I don't want to have a simple wedding because I really don't want to marry you. I don't want to go back to school before my children each have a PhD in rocket science because I'm afraid that I don't have any skills anymore, or I haven't left the house in 15 years anyway, or that would be me. Oh, it's been longer than 15 years. Occasionally I leave the house, but very rarely. The price is, so I gave you the price as I went along, and time passes, we don't get things done, we get distracted from the real issues, we're not dealing with what's real. More people get hurt. We get hurt. We end up having to get divorced the day after the marriage anyway. By making things unnecessarily complicated, we are avoiding dealing with reality.
Like, that can be hazardous to your health.
It absolutely is hazardous to our health. Let's stop doing this. So I'm giving you the challenge, the Granny Rocks challenge of the week. Go ahead and think about something that you are doing or have done that you have made way too complicated. Ask yourself why. Look at the results and get the support you need to make life simpler and therefore increase your awareness and have it actually work better.
Amen.
Okay, so
Right.
I want to remind you that on Thursday nights, every single Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, we broadcast Dreams of Peace on this very Facebook channel. And that's me playing the piano. And Sweet Baby James is my sidekick. And I would love you to come. Our show airs all around the world, and people seem to like it and love it, and they can it's not complicated. You just listen to music and it goes straight to the heart. And I would like to ask you to come back every Monday and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time for Grow, Granny Rocks Our World, or watch it on the replay. And then please like it, comment if you haven't already, and share it with your friends. We all need a little bit of uncommon sense, don't we?
Yes.
I send my love to you. We are in a very painful time in history, but it has always been painful. Let's not make climate change that complicated. We need to do it. We need to do something about it, and we need to do something about it fast. we need to do something about our addiction, our violence, our fears that underlie everything. And come back on Wednesday and see if we can just do a little bit more to deal with all those underlying things that make us do stupid things that hurt ourselves
And
and others. I keep feeling that I'm missing something. I'm leaving something out, but I don't know what it is. So if I think of it, I'll tell you on Wednesday. I love you, and I'm so glad to see you.
Bless you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.